If you've watched any of my videos before, you probably already know that I am a cozy romance author myself, but I'm also, to no one's surprise, a cozy romance reader. And today I want to talk about how this specific genre can be a great way to regulate your nervous system. And if that sounds like more fun than meditating and doing breath work and other things like that, then stick around. To start off, let's talk about what cozy romance actually is. I haven't really heard a lot of people using this phrasing. We certainly have cozy fantasy, which I would say actually this book is more cozy fantasy, but it's a romance too, maybe. I'm not sure what they call it, but I would call it a cozy romance. Certainly we have cozy fantasy, and the idea there is that it's more low stakes, more just something that you can kind of sink into and just enjoy. And I think that it's helpful to have that language in romance as well, because you see the language of the opposite so often, of like, oh, this romance novel, like ripped my heart out and had me, staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning just to finish it. It really tugged on my heartstrings and messed with all my emotions and all that kind of stuff. So on the other end of the spectrum from that sort of romance novel, we have something that's a little cozier, which I would say is a little more low stakes, a little gentler. Always you should have a guaranteed happy ending in romance. We know this. And yeah, no cliffhangers. The goal is not to have your emotions messed with too much. For myself as a reader, I find it really helpful because I know that nothing bad is going to happen. Not too terrible, and then for my nervous system I can just kind of like settle into it. And here's the thing that I think is the coolest about this sort of book, is that you can actually put it down and go to sleep. I know in the book world we love to talk about our bad habits of like, oh, I was just going to read a chapter before bed and then ended up staying up all night to finish the story. And I've certainly been there in the past. I've certainly felt that, where like, I just need to know what's going to happen. And for me, reading cozier books, also I would say studying story structure, because when you study story structure, you kind of know how things are going to unfold, and you're not quite left as, oh my gosh, I have to keep going, like what's going to happen on the next page and the next chapter and all that kind of stuff. For myself, I love a book where I can read before bedtime and then I can say, check my watch and go, oh, okay, it's actually time for me to sleep now, so I'm going to put it down. I'll pick it up tomorrow. I can trust the characters will be right where I left them. They're not going to get themselves into trouble while I'm sleeping, and I can return to it tomorrow. Of course, we all get different needs met from the books that we read, and sometimes for some folks, they might say like reading thrillers or horror or literary fiction is a regulating tool for them, and that's awesome. For me, this is what I like to choose. I think it's a great thing about genre fiction in general, is that there's a certain amount of, there's a framework within which the author is working. And so there might be a certain amount of predictability, but it's a feature, it's not a bug. And there's still a lot of creativity and a lot of really beautiful writing that happens within that structure. For myself as an author, these are a couple of my favorites that are both quite cozy. One reason why I really like writing this sort of genre and not, putting my characters really through the ringer, is that I spend a lot of time inside these stories, and I want it to be a safe space for me too. I don't want it to be a place where I'm like, okay, I'm going back into that torture chamber and I'm gonna do something awful to these characters. Again, it's not to say there isn't a space for that. There certainly is. I've also considered, it might be fun to write a thriller because I do like mysteries. I'm just not sure if I can spend that amount of time in that sort of world. And so for me at this season in my life, at least, I really like being in a cozy world. To me, these stories feel as comforting as rewatching one of the like PG-13 rom-coms I grew up with. And that's why I love to reach for them during, maybe a stressful season, a time when you're just looking for a little bit extra comfort, a little bit extra predictability. You can call it escapism, but you can call it regulation too. This is all just to say this is an invitation to embrace this genre. If it's something that, maybe feels like a guilty pleasure to you, maybe you feel like you should be reading what everyone else is reading, or you should be reading literary fiction, whatever it is, you should be reading what you love. Doesn't matter what it is, you should be reading what you enjoy and what hopefully helps you come back to a place of regulation. If you're interested in one of my books, I'm not saying you have to be, but if you are, my my go-to recommendation if you're up for Christmas. I know it's not really Christmas time right now. Christmas on Inchmore is a great place to start, but also if you're looking for something that definitely has a guaranteed happy ending. I mean, they all do, but this one is a choose your own adventure, and the only possible way to end it is a happy one. It's called We Were Inevitable, and it's like a grown-up choose your own adventure book. That's a rom-com. So that's it for me, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.